Alrighty, so what is going on, guys? My name is Daryl Central. I haven't uploaded a video in a while, but due to some recent scheduling changes, I'm going to be able to upload a little bit more often now, especially as the industry kind of gets back to normal with parks opening up and new rides being announced. I'm going to be touching up on some of that stuff, but for now, I have a video for you guys today. This one is actually part of 2 uploads, so the other one should already be up. These will be uploaded at the same time, and that link will be down in the description. That video is titled the Halo Ring Experience, and this is kind of the video that I want to make to kind of explain what's going on there and the thought process behind this. But yeah, as you can see, this is a pretty massive planet coaster build, at least one of the bigger ones that I've done. So if you have not seen that first video titled The Halo Ring Experience, go watch that now, as that video is going to kind of give you a guest perspective of walking through this land from start to finish and the main attraction. But for now, this video is just kind of explain what everything in that video is going on. So yeah, I would first like to say that this edition was actually made for Carowinds. I kind of designed it to fit in a spot in Carowinds that I'm bringing up a picture of now. So you can kind of see it back there, and I actually measured this whole thing out, and it would actually fit pretty snugly in that area back there. So as to why would Carowinds ever build this? Well, in recent years, you know, we've seen Cedar Fair add some video game-like attractions, especially with Mass Effect and Plants vs. Zombies, and I actually also made a video as to what IPs that they could use if they wanted to build more. Now, since then, they haven't really used any, but whatever. This was basically just a video of my imagination wanting to do a themed land like this for Planet Coaster, but I was essentially thinking, look, if Cedar Fair wants to bring in the big bucks, they need like a big themed area. You know, that's how Universal Disney get all their guests, especially with other parks like Fantasyland, Port Aventura. And let's say that they were willing to spend big bucks and maybe get Microsoft to back them up a bit. Maybe they build a Halo-themed land in Carowinds. That was kind of the main idea here. It's a complete long shot, but hey, whatever. This is Planet Coaster. You build whatever the hell you want. So that's what I did here. So let me actually kind of walk you guys through. So guests come through the entrance here. This is not part of the land. Since this whole thing is built as an expansion, I just needed a way to get people in. So this is my makeshift Carowinds. Here's Copperhead Strike. This is Fury. And then guests make their way down this long path. So as you saw, this would kind of be over by the Fury area. If it were to actually build Fury, I guess would be kind of out over this way, and Hurler would be right here. They might remove Hurler. I'm actually planning to make a video on the future of Hurler at Carowinds and my thoughts on that. So first, guests come to this area right here. This is kind of a UNSC themed base. If you have not seen the Halo video games, or played the Halo video games, the UNSC is kind of like this Starfleet-esque group on Earth. So that would be where the main base is. So you kind of enter pretending you're on Earth still, and then they span throughout the planets, which is where we're going, to the ring. Now guests can see that giant ring off in the distance. I'll explain that in a bit. But for now, this kind of area right here is just to bring guests in and get them ready for the experience. So you've got some snacks, some shops, a pretty small area, but like I said, this is just going to be able to transport guests into the main land. So now they have 2 options. The first option right here is you can see this massive hangar with some vehicles in it. This is kind of the main entrance to the land. Now if you want to go through the side entrance or the exit, that's going to be this path here, and I'll show you guys that in a second. So if you do watch if you did, like I said, and watch the Halo Ring Experience first, you'll kind of understand and see the guests walking through here and be a little confused as to what happens up above. Well, that is because this whole area would be kind of a queue just to get into the land. And let me explain, because if you don't want to wait in the queue, there is this path over here, right there, that would take you to the land. But the whole idea would be to kind of make this the best transformation into a land, or transition into a land in existence. Obviously, you know, there's Galaxy's Edge and you know, the Wizarding World, Diagon Alley. But the whole idea here was that I wanted to make this kind of like a mini attraction of getting into the land. So you kind of enter that pelican right there after waiting in a little bit of a queue. Now, this whole area right here would work similar to Rise of the Resistance of Galaxy's Edge. Now, if you don't want to hear how that works, then I would skip ahead in the video, but if I'm going to get into the spoilers of that ride, so skip ahead about like 40 seconds now. Essentially how that ride works in Rise of the Resistance is when you're on the outside of the base, you want to get to the Imperial side of the base, you take this Resistance transport, and it looks like you're just getting on a ship, and you enter through the 2 main doors, and by the time you get out on the other side, you're inside the Imperial Star Destroyer. And you might think, how did that happen? Well, when you get in the Rebel transport, you're on this giant turntable, and I don't know exactly how many rooms there are, but when you get in the room, you don't really notice it, but you're slowly turning, and it's turning your whole vehicle to the Imperial base, so that way when the door opens the next time, you're on the other side. So this would work very similar to that. So you get in the Pelican on this side, it goes through a whole pre-show. That's kind of what that 2 weird minutes, if you don't really understand that, you're supposed to be on this like mini attraction where you're a Pelican and you're being brought to the ring, so that when the Pelican crash lands in the video, the ramp would drop down and you would exit out. I can't really do that effect here, obviously, so you just kind of see guests right here. They're just going to go through the Pelican. I can also stop them from going back. So like I said, that would be kind of the cool entrance to the land. It would be kind of like this mini attraction just to bring you in. Wouldn't exactly be a headlining attraction, but kind of something to transition you in and keep building that immersion. And like I said, the exit back is going to be through this tunnel, but if you just want to enter by not waiting in line for the Pelican, or you have already been there to experience it, you actually get into fly view here, you would just come back through the main path. Now, if you're also wondering what all this structure and walls are, I wanted to make this a realistic themed land. Kind of looked like it would actually be constructed. So if you see a lot of Planet Coaster creations, they do get kind of nuts with the theming, and you know, they don't exactly look like something would actually be constructed. So the idea here was to build something that would actually look like it would be constructed. So you would have, you know, the giant show building, you know, kind of these walls just holding up the rocks behind them. This is how Rookburg looks at Fantasialand. If you've ever seen an aerial photo, you know, you step into that land and you think it's like some, I mean, it is really well themed to, like, you know, this kind of steampunk city, but you look outside, it's literally all those facades are just these kind of themed walls around. So the same thing goes for here, the main attraction. There's kind of this massive show building. So I really wanted to give it like a realistic constructed look feel. Same goes for the ring, and I'll explain that now actually. So if you're not unfamiliar with Halo, if you are, you know what the hell this is. If you aren't familiar with Halo, Halo actually kind of resembles, you know, how there's a halo and an angel, you know, that ring, the halo that they call it above the angel's head. The reason that the Halo series is called Halo is because it revolves around this giant space station that is in the shape of a ring. And if you imagine a wedding ring, on the inside of it that would be touching your finger is the planet. It's not really a planet because it's a giant, you know, artificial space world. And there's a whole reason as to go into why it's shaped like that and what it's used for. But because it's so massive, when you're playing the game wherever you are, if you look up, you see that halo ring above you. So that's, of course, something that I wanted to bring into this land. So the way, of course, it would be constructed to give that kind of illusion would be to create this shape that kind of goes, kind of teeters in toward itself slowly until it gets high enough to the point where it has that effect of being a full, massive, planetary-sized circle above the guests. And I think that works well in this way. If you are saying that would cost way too much money, it actually probably wouldn't, because this could just be a regular steel structure. You don't have to have any like mechanical stuff or electrical stuff running through it. It could literally just be a big prop, and the St. Louis Arch itself was actually like $82 million in today's dollars to build, and you got to think of how much bigger that is and how much more material that uses and all the electrical systems and water that's got to run through that. This would absolutely require none of it. It would literally just be this massive steel structure, maybe the biggest steel structure on the planet outside of the Eiffel Tower. So it wouldn't really cost a whole lot for something that's so specific to the land. I think it really gives off that nice illusion of being a part of this planetary ring. Of course, you can see it from everywhere else in the park. So as you kind of come down through the Pelican, you go through this level this land that I wanted to take a lot of inspiration from, like the earlier Halo levels when you're like on a Warthog, just driving around to find the installations, which kind of what those things are called a little bit. So there's lots of nature around. There's you know, if you've ever played the games, you'd understand that there, you know, there's just these random like evergreen trees going around. So that was really something I felt like putting in, and really making this a very landscape feel. Obviously, there's not like a whole lot you can do with you know, the architecture outside of like the bases and stuff. It's a very nature-based world. Now, as you're going to see up here, I'll actually pause it. Now, this main attraction is called Warthog Run. Warthog is one of the major vehicles used in the Halo franchise, if you don't know. That's what this thing is right here. It's kind of like this fast attack assault vehicle. Now, obviously, because there aren't Warthogs in the actual game, I had to use these antique cars, but I think they still give off a pretty decent look just because they're green and they're big cars. I'll explain that one in a second. So as to what there is to do here, aside from this little pelican attraction that brings you into this land that you can walk around, well, there would be a small diner. I just have that there. The whole idea would be that that kind of opens up a little bit, and there's like, you know, some military-style cafeteria as the main restaurant. There would be a VR attraction, which I'll get into in a second, and then there would be the main Warthog Run shooting-style attraction ride. If you actually are a Halo fan, you'll notice that this right here is I got it off the Steam Workshop. I got a decent amount of these vehicles set up off the workshop. I did all of the regular terrain and stuff myself, though. This is the Blood Gulch base. So as we kind of go into the main attraction here, this is called Warthog Run. So the main, I guess, storyline of this would be that there's a Covenant base nearby. You're essentially Marines. Look at how long this line is. And you're going in to fight the Covenant. Now, the Marines have set up kind of this makeshift base on this outpost called Sierra Outpost, and they've kind of taken up shop in this Forerunner base. That's what a lot of this architecture is kind of supposed to be, Forerunner stuff. And they're sending you on a mission to go find the Covenant base and take it out, or at least its generator. So ideally here, if you have seen the first video that I told you to watch, again, down in the description, there's a Halo assault rifle on the screen the entire ride. That's because this is meant to be a shooting attraction with physical props and stuff. So think of it like a Men in Black alien attack almost. So we can actually go through the ride here. So it starts off in this giant canyon. Now, these giant rocks aren't exactly a particular part of any Halo thing. I just wanted to, I just thought it was like a cool kind of gulch to kind of create. And then you come up on this Banshee. That's about how big a Banshee would actually be in real life too, which I don't think a lot of people that play Halo would realize. So you have all these realistic sets around you, and even though it looks massive, I mean, just because it intertwines around itself, that's kind of what makes this somewhat realistic. Also, just kind of these like structure up here to kind of hold the rockwork in place, because that's how it would normally look. So you want to essentially, if you think of Fantasyland, that's how they do a lot of their stuff, is they make these, you know, rock walls that kind of go all up around you, but you don't realize how thin they are and that there's just something right behind it. Actually, in Fantasyland, pretend that this is like kind of the rock wall dividing up Colorado area and Mexico. It's literally just one rock wall, and it's just colored a little bit differently on either side. And you walk, if you're in the Mexico area, you walk right under it, and now you're in the Colorado area, and it just uses that same rock wall. So I think that's kind of funny, but also really smart that they do that. So you come up here on this giant wraith, which you have the opportunity to shoot. I think sprinkled around could have been a little bit more animatronics. Maybe I will put those in later. This whole park is up on the Steam Workshop, by the way, so if you want to go check it out, you can definitely do that. So that's when you make your way up to the main Covenant base. Now, I actually made this very, very tight on space, so you're actually going to see that it's a little hard for these quote-unquote warthogs to fit in here. This is all custom, by the way, and I'm going to upload these Covenant halls to the Steam Workshop. If you guys want to, as you can see, yeah, there's a lot of clipping going on with the top of that. So if you are going to do like a Halo kind of theme and Planet Coaster similar to this, you can use these Covenant halls. So that's when you kind of come up to this main generator. Oh my goodness. Guests have an opportunity to shoot this, and then you get into the much more exciting part of the ride, which is where all the Covenant stuff come out as you're trying to escape the base. So here we go. I made these grunts. They were so hard to make with the shapes and stuff, especially with the minimum size that a lot of these shapes can be. So you kind of fight your way through this Covenant base here. of course, all inside this massive show building. And then out here where you are coming back to the base, and then that's the end of the ride. This queue takes you back to the land. So that would be the main attraction here. Obviously, I feel like a lot of rides these days are kind of shooter-based attractions, just because it's another interactive play, but I feel like it's something really important to Halo that you have that aspect, since it's a shooter video game. So you'd almost have to have that kind of Men in Black style ride. But I wanted to really quick show off this idea for the second attraction, which is kind of this VR arena. Now the guests can't go in here, and this isn't something that you can really do in Planet Coaster, so I just kind of made it. That's this show building right here. And if I go inside, you're going to see it's not really that exciting, but I just wanted to more or less talk to you about what this attraction would be. So this would be an AR laser, sorry, it's not VR, it would be an AR laser tag arena. So what you would do here is you would probably have guests reserve a time. Damn anyone who tried to make this an upcharge experience. I hate upcharges in theme parks. So this would be a free experience for guests that they would just have to reserve a time for. They'd come in, get their gear, learn how it works, and then go into the main arena, and inside would be kind of this setting for guests to have this AR fight. So they put on their goggles and they could see like the lasers coming at them, they could see like grenade explosions and all that good stuff. So it would be like laser tag but on steroids. If you have actually seen Halo Outpost Discovery, it's an actual traveling, they call it a theme park, it's more of just an exhibit. They actually do have like a VR laser tag kind of fight, so that's kind of cool. Go check that out, definitely. So yeah, that is about it. I just wanted to explain everything in this video of what this was. So like I said, go check out, if you have not already, even though I said to, go check out that other video titled The Halo Ring Experience that kind of walks you through the land at a guest perspective. And I just wanted to explain the whole thought process behind this and show it off and what it's all supposed to be. So like I said, thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you subscribe and stick around for future videos. I will be uploading this to the Planet Coaster Workshop, so be on the lookout there if you want to check it out for yourselves. And other than that, I will see you guys later.